We've got a ton of awesome stuff today. The DCU's next big covert team up, Batman's new shows and movies, Marvel's latest X-Men event, and a Vision Quest update. A full-on brawl between Aquaman and Namor, and one of the coolest Spider-Man Batman crossovers ever. And if you're a collector, don't go anywhere because we're closing with the CovrPrice Daily Shakers report, and it's loaded with key issues that'll make your wallet cry. Hi everyone, I'm Bryant, and welcome back to Comic Issues Daily. And a quick shout out to our sponsor, Ron's Comic Closet. They got killer deals on new releases, indie books, and Silver Age back issues and things like that. Hit up Ron's Comic Closet and use code IHaveIssues at checkout, and you'll get 20% off your first purchase. All right, so Peacemaker Season 2 is wrapped up, and they dropped a major update or a major setup for upcoming next phase of DCU. Hold on just a second. The finale basically tees up Superman Man of Tomorrow, which lands in July of 2027. And the big reveal was the formation of Checkmate, a secret organization that pulled straight from the comics. In the DCU version, Checkmate, founded by the 11th Street Kids and Sasha Bordeaux and Flory, who used stolen money stolen from criminals to create a private non-government security agency that is out to protect metahuman rights. They're going to head with Argus, now run by Rick Flag Sr., who's been funneling money into an interdimensional prison called Salvation. And of course, that ties right into Lex Luthor's bigger plans. Checkmate's mission is to fight Argus and Luthor's metahuman prison project. And if it follows comic lore, expect heavy hitters like Green Arrow, Huntress, and even Martian Manhunter, who's just about as powerful as Superman, to show up. The DCU is shaping up to be a political thriller with superpowers. I'm here for it. Do you think Checkmate could be Gunn's answer to the MCU Shield? Drop your take in the comments below. And then we got some Batman news out of NYCC. First, Prime Video is dropping a brand new animated series called Bat Fam on November 10th of 2025. And it's a spinoff of Merry Little Batman. This one follows Batman, Alfred, and Damian Wayne, aka Little Batman, as they try to live in a chaotic Wayne manor. And his house is packed. Alfred's grandniece Alice moves in. A reformed criminal named Claire joins, and even Raj Al Ghul, Damian's grandpa and Batman's biggest headache, moves into the manor. Man-Bat is in the belfry. Selena the cat prowls the halls. It's going to be also absolute madness. The Warner Brothers animation dropped another bomb. A multi-part animated adaptation of Batman Nightfall, the legendary Bane storyline. The first part drops in 2026, and this is the first time ever Nightfall is being adapted in full. Bane breaks Arkham open. Batman pushed to his limits. Is pure comic history brought to life. All right, Bat fam, what do you want to see more? The family chaos of Bat fam or the brutality of Nightfall? Let me know. And then everyone knows that about the death of Superman, but honestly, the final days of Superman is even sadder. This story follows the new 52 Superman, younger, more rebellious, and in a relationship with the Wonder Woman. During his final moments after exposure to apocalyptic energy during a Darkseid war, his cells start breaking down. His solar flare ability just speeds up the decay. Knowing that he's dying, he tries to get his affairs in order and team ups with the pre-New 52 Superman and Batman to stop a delusional convict who thinks he's the real Clark Kent. In the end, Superman takes him into the sky and unleashes one final solar flare and sacrifices himself. He dies peacefully in Wonder Woman's arms, telling her he was lucky, then turns to ash. That moment closed out the New 52 era and paved the way for rebirth. If that scene doesn't choke you up, I don't know what will. Which Superman's death hits you the hardest? Doomsday or Final Days? Sound off below. And then over at Marvel in the MCU, we got some news about VisionQuest. Marvel made some big announcements at NYCC, specifically about VisionQuest, which is officially the final chapter in the trilogy that started with WandaVision and continued with Agatha all along. And it's coming to Disney Plus in late 2026 with Paul Bettany back as the White Vision. And this time we'll actually see his AI component Jarvis, Ultron, and Friday as physical characters. The biggest reveal was Rudaria Malik being cast as Thomas Shepard, aka Tommy Maximoff, the reincarnated son of Vision and Wanda, better known as Speed, of the Young Avengers. Unlike the Joe Locke mystery cast for Agatha all along, Marvel just came right out with this one. Fans, are you hoping the series ties it all together, giving Wanda a proper redemption and a reunion with Vision, Billy, and Tommy? It'd be a perfect emotional close to her arc. All right, Scarlet Witch fans, do you think VisionQuest gives Wanda her happy ending, or is Marvel setting her up for another heartbreak? Who knows with Marvel? And then over on the X-Men side of things, X-Men are celebrating 30 years of Age of Apocalypse with a brand new dystopian saga, Age of Revelations. We already know all that. This one takes place 10 years in the future, where Cypher, now calling himself Revelation, has taken over the United States after infecting millions of humans with a mutant virus. It's clever because it mashes up two of the best X-Men arcs. It honors Age of Apocalypse with a dark future ruled by mutants, but it's a flip. But it flips Days of Future Past. Instead of sending someone back in time, it sends Cyclops and Beast minds forward into their future bodies. They've lied to about what happened, and they rely on someone else to get back to their own time. It's dark, layered, and totally old school Marvel storytelling. Between this and Fall of the House of X, Marvel's really feeding us dystopia. Which future timeline do you think is darker? This or Days or Future Past? And then here's a little opinion piece. Now let's talk about something every fan has an opinion on: creative runs that actually last. The piece argues comics were better when creators stayed on a title long term. And I kind of agree here. Look at Chris Claremont, who wrote Uncanny X-Men for 17 years and basically built the X-Men we know today. Rogue, Gambit, Storm, Wolverine, even the Dark Phoenix saga. Or Mark Waid's Flash run. He took Wally West from cocky kid to full-fledged hero, even giving him love and a marriage arc that felt earned. Compared that to now, where most creative teams last 2 or 3 years tops, and that would be long-term now, it's too quick to build anything lasting. Long runs give stories room to breathe, like Dan Slott's decade on Spider-Man, or Al Ewing's Immortal Hulk. You remember those because they stuck. All right, hot take time. Which long creative run is your all-time favorite? Claremont's X-Men, Wade's Flash? Drop it below and let us know. And then here's a little opinion piece, some debate for you. Who's would win the fight between Aquaman and Namor? Both are half human, half Atlantean kings with similar powers: underwater breathing, strength, speed, durability, and tridents that can manipulate water and blast energy. Both also lose power if they're out of water for too long. Namor's impressive. He once held up the island of Utopia and even made Thanos bleed. But Aquaman, he's next level. The guys lifted an entire city block, defeated gods, blocked a continent-destroying hit, and once moved a tectonic plate in the New 52 comics. That's ridiculous power. Plus, Aquaman's telepathy goes beyond Namor. Namor commands fish. Aquaman controls minds. Through the clear, a psychic network connecting all sea life, he can empower creatures to crazy levels, even letting whales shatter Green Lantern's constructs, and he can use it on land too. He's given white Martians seizures. So yeah, this opinion piece thinks that Aquaman would take the crown. So let me know in the comments. What do you think? Aquaman will win or Namor? Let me know. And then we're going to talk about some DC villains here. These are some DC villains who should never be redeemed ever. All right, you got the Mad Hatter, who literally bought a girl named Alice from traffickers, killed her, and spent years murdering others trying to replace her. That's a sick, twisted character right there. Then you got Dr. Light, who committed assault so horrific on Sue Dibney that the Justice League voted to lobotomize him in a decision to team apart. And on the cosmic side, there's Anti-Monitor, whose entire existence is about destroying universes. Darkseid, the god who conquers worlds for the anti-life equation. And Trigon, who absorbs evil of 100 galaxies. But the most twisted of all, the Batman who laughs, an alternate Bruce Wayne from Earth 22 who murdered his entire family and the Justice League. So who's your pick for most irredeemable villain in comics? And no, you can't just say Joker. He's practically a saint next to these guys. And then got some Spider-Man and Batman information. All right, we're going back to, or just a recap. We're going back to 1995 for a crossover that actually nailed it. Spider-Man and Batman, Disordered Minds. In this story, both heroes exist in the same world and team up to take down Carnage and the Joker, two maniacs whose partnership is as unstable as it is sound. A doctor tries to cure them with brain chips, but Carnage tears us out, disables Jokers, and they join forces. It doesn't last long. Joker is a theatrical lunatic. Carnage just wants chaos. Things go south, and then the Joker plans to unleash a deadly virus, and even Carnage gets scared. Now, that's scary. If Carnage is scared of something, that's a pretty twisted person that he's scared of. Batman ends up taking down Carnage. Guess he had plenty of prep time. While Spider-Man stops Joker's plans. What makes it great is how it shows both heroes reflecting their trauma. Batman driven by guilt, Spider-Man by hope. They're opposites, but mirror images of pain and purpose. Still one of the greatest Marvel DC crossovers ever printed. And if Marvel and DC ever cross over again, which they are now with the Batman and Deadpool, so that would be pretty good. Are there any other characters y'all would like to see crossed over? Let me know. All right, and then we got the CovrPrice Daily Shakers report. Got some movers here. We had Avengers #1 from 1963. It sold for $4,844 in a CGC 6.0. We had an Amazing Spider-Man annual #1 from 1964 in a CGC 8.0, which sold for $4,055. And then we had another Avengers. It was issue number 112 from 1973 in a CGC 9.8. Give it. Sold for $3,450. Then we're moving over to some DC. We got Detective Comics issue number 122 from 1947 in a CGC 4.0, sold for $2,495. And we're going to jump back to Marvel. We were in DC for a minute. Now we're right back to Marvel. Amazing Spider-Man 50 from 1967. I believe that's the first appearance of the Kingpin in a CGC 8.0, sold for $2,400. And then we got Incredible Hulk issue number 181 from 1974, the first full appearance of Wolverine in a CGC 5.5, sold for $2,149. And then we're jumping over to some indies. For a second, we got Raphael, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 from 1985 in a CGC 9.8, sold for $2,000. And then right back to Marvel, we got Amazing Spider-Man #4 from 1963 in a CGC 4.0, sold for $1,668. And then we got Journey into Mystery #38 from 1962, which also sold for $1,300 in a CGC 3.5. And then we're going to finish this off with DC. And we got Swamp Thing #3 from 1972 in a CGC 9.8, sold for $1,249. That's a powerhouse lineup of Silver Age and Bronze Age keys. They're all climbing. If you got any of these in your long box, it might be time to pull them out, slab them, and maybe take a victory lap. Let me know if you got any of those books. That'd be great. And then remember, everybody, this is October. It's Comics Curing Cancer Month. C3, great charity, helps to fight the supervillain known as cancer. All funds that are raised in support of C3 goes to the American Cancer Society. And at the end of the month, October 24th through the 26th, they are doing a auctions all weekend long to raise money for C3. And I have the schedule right here, so here you go. All right, and before we wrap up, I just want to remind everybody about the other live stream that I have. It's called Comic Channel Origins, which is every Sunday night where I interview comic book YouTube content creators and talk to them about how they've grown their channel from where they started to where they are now. Yesterday, I interviewed Mr. Aiken, or also known as What's on the Comic Rack. He was my guest last night, so please check that out. But this Sunday coming up, at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, I am interviewing Mike from Lunch Money Comics. So please check that out. It's be there for you to come and ask questions. We'll all have a good time. All right, so that's it for today's Comic Issues Daily. Let me know what story hit you the hardest: the Peacemaker setup, the Nightfall movie news, or those insane cover price sales. Hit like, drop a comment, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you tomorrow morning for more news, more stories, and more comic talk. And remember, support your local comic shops, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.